Welcome back to the weekly recap. I'm Matt Wacker. Mid-Missourians face some tough choices in next month's election. To help inform voters, a Meet the Candidates Forum was held July 24th at Cuba High School. Sponsored by the University of Missouri Extension and Farm Bureau, the event hosted more than 20 political candidates from local, state, and federal levels. We will bring you portions of their remarks in weeks to come. This week, we focus on the 4 candidates running for Missouri's District 16 Senate seat. Franklin, Crawford, Dent, Phelps, and Pulaski County voters go to the polls August 7th to determine which of 3 Republicans will face Democrat Ryan Dillon in the November general election.
You see, I believe in progress. I believe that tomorrow should be better than today. In order to attract businesses and good-paying jobs and a stronger local economy, we must fully fund education at all levels. And to be clear, higher education isn't restricted to universities. That means investing in trade schools, in technical schools, and other forms of education in order to inspire people to pursue education.
As I knock on doors in all 5 counties in Missouri's 16th Central District, the 2 issues I hear the most about are public education and healthcare.
In the Missouri State Senate, I will stand to advocate for rural hospitals and rural health clinics to ensure that our families, our friends, and our neighbors have access to quality patient-centered health care all across this district. Senior citizens in Crawford County are hurting due to recent cuts in the Missouri RX program, and that assists in paying for prescription drugs for our seniors. I would oppose those cuts. Additionally, this district is home to over 21,000 veterans, and our duty to them does not end when they retire from active duty. We must continue to advocate for their health care in this community and all across this district. With the heroin opioid epidemic, we need to strengthen the lackluster prescription drug monitoring program here in Missouri. We need to partner with local and community officials and leaders to develop action plans. And we must work to ensure our school officials have the necessary tools to implement life-saving educational programs.
The one thing that I would say to you, the voter, is that every single day I'm inspired by you, and it would be the greatest honor of my life to be your next state senator.
I'm an unapologetic Christian conservative. I assure you that. I put God first, my family second. I'm proud to say that I've been endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. I've been endorsed by the Missouri Cattlemen's Association, and I've also been endorsed by our local Fraternal Order of Police Lodge in Rolla.
I think right now this opioid epidemic it should be right at the top of our list of anybody that's in the legislature, no matter what the party is. I think number one, we need to secure our borders. We need to support the president's agenda on that. We need to overwhelmingly support our law enforcement. We also need to implement a law. Illinois has one. It is the drug-induced homicide law. That would be one of the first bills that I would try to push through as a state legislature, is that if you're a drug dealer or you're a person that sells drugs and you cause a death because of that and it can be traced back to you, then you should be wholeheartedly charged with murder.
I support President Trump's immigration agenda. I support border security. I support building that wall, and not only that, I support merit-based immigration.
I'm a firm believer that education is the surest, quickest way out of poverty. It grows the economy, it grows jobs, so it ties into jobs and community growth.
I support farm families and rural families that go to work every day working hard for the next generation.
It is not anything for me to put in an 18-hour day, 6 days a week, and a half a day on a Sunday after church. I'll assure you, when I get to Jeff City, I'll be the hardest person working in the state legislature.
My slogan is One Tough Grandma. I chose that slogan because it's true. I grew up in my parents' bait and tackle shop. I counted worms and minnows and crawdads. I learned how to help my family make a living.
What voters are looking for is they want accountability and they want results. They want to be assured that if an individual says they are going to act as a conservative, as a Christian, protect their rights, that they are going to do that. The other aspect of that is results.
I've worked in the legislature for 8 years, and I have passed the last summer session that we had one of the strongest pro-life bills in the nation. We have passed to reduce your taxes twice.
One of the issues that's very important to the constituency is the assurance that Missouri will continue to keep their rights enforced, that there's nothing that happens that removes their First Amendment right, their pro-life belief, the way they believe in raising their family.
Someone asked me about guns earlier, and I understand the concern about having guns because we see so much violence because of that. And I understand it, and I think there's some psychological issues that go into it. But I want you to know that I'm a part of an organization that trains young students how to appropriately use firearms.
I have a record in the House of Representatives of the things that I've tackled and that I've gotten results for. And that's what I would like to continue to do over the next 4 years.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon and I'm from Rolla, Missouri. And you know, I view government as its primary function is to protect the rights of the citizens. So I fought to keep taxes low and government small, actually made those votes. I also sponsored the bill, the 72-hour wait bill for abortion, to give our pregnancy resource centers more chances to work with young women, and I believe that's saved some lives. I'm a lifetime member of the NRA and have an A rating from them. I also sponsored legislation for a new category of physicians in Missouri called assistant physicians. We brought over 100 doctors now to serve in our rural, underserved areas in Missouri.
We don't really have an adequate workforce to help expand our economy. I mean, to expand our businesses and create new businesses, we need a qualified workforce. You know, in Rolla, one of our major employees, Menards, had to drop the drug screen. As I understand it, that's what I was told. They had to drop the drug screen because they couldn't fill the positions. So that ties right in. So number one is an adequate trained workforce, so workforce education. But also, the opioid crisis, I think, is the second biggest thing. May even be the first biggest thing, but it's tied to economic development. We passed legislation that I sponsored this year that will be a landmark effort to reduce deaths from opioids. We lost 908 people to opioid overdose last year. We have to have somebody in the Senate that has the background that I have in pharmacy and medicine. Experience counts, and the Senate is not an entry-level job. If we get increased flexibility from the Trump administration in healthcare, which we'll probably get, we're probably going to get block grants. Missouri better be ready. We better have some plan. And if you don't have a single doctor in the Senate, where's your plan going to come from?
An interim sheriff has been appointed following the arrest and charges facing former Texas County lawman James Sigmund. Sigmund and his chief deputy, Jennifer Tomaszewski, were arraigned on 6 felony counts this past Tuesday. The allegations against these two include illegally performing police duties, acting as an undercover officer while not commissioned, and pointing a gun at a group of non-suspects, including a 1-year-old child. Sigmund and Tomaszewski were apparently linked romantically. Rowdy Douglas will serve as the new sheriff until the November election. Summer is coming to a close, and schools across Missouri are gearing up for the fall semester. The Greater Ozarks Center for Advanced Technology in West Plains is no different. With a look inside GoCat, here's Cyrus Coble.
Thanks, Matt. This week, we decided to check out the West Plains GoCat facility. GoCat is a program for qualified training and educating in high-tech manufacturing. It is also one of the 5 Fab Labs in Missouri. Fab Lab is a platform for researchers, educators, and innovators to connect information on a global scale, spanning 30 countries and over 24 time zones. The GoCat facility will be hosting a tech showcase this Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. There, you can learn how to enroll in their programs and tour the building. GoCat also offers a computer lab and CNA class training course. Call 255-7784 for additional information. Back to you, Matt.
A West Plains man has been charged with a felony after allegedly brandishing a machete while threatening to enter a home and harm several people. An officer with the West Plains Police Department was dispatched to a home on Wood Street where 28-year-old Mark Allen Barger stood on the front porch, banging on the door and windows and threatening to, quote, chop everyone up and put people's heads on platters. Barger is scheduled for a preliminary hearing on August 3rd. A joint investigation by the Mineral Area Drug Task Force, Franklin and Jefferson County Sheriff's Departments, and Sullivan Police led to the raid of the Peace of Mind store in Sullivan on July 24th. Narcotics detectives obtained samples of products being sold and testing positive for cannabidiol. A large assortment of paraphernalia used to process, store, hide, and use the controlled substance were also seized. For many, a slice of pie in Rolla is synonymous with good times and great desserts. When new owners Ryan and Catherine Warnall took the reins, customers wondered just what, if anything, would change. Leanne Minting caught up with Warnall after the ribbon cutting on July 24th.
I've been asked the question, when did you think about buying it? And I'd have to say 20 years ago when I worked for Ron and Mick. I worked for Slice of Pie somewhere around 99, 2000, 2001. The group of kids and I that worked together, we took a vested interest in this place. This was their place. This was Rolla's place. This was important, and we took ownership of that. And because several people would come in, they say, "Well, are you the owner?" I'm like, "No, I'm just a kid." But I think that struck a chord with me because I really liked this business. I saw the business model, I enjoyed it, enjoyed the people, and so that was something even then that stuck. I hope nothing changes. People come in here, they'll come, I haven't visited since, I was in college. That's been 10 years ago, or that's been 15 years ago. Or we have several people coming through that, well, I was in college here, now my kids are going to college here, and so we wanted them to enjoy this habit as well. And so that, the good old days type of thing, how they remembered it, it needs to stay the same. It is personal. And it's personal to get to know the folks at Raw, to get to know all the travelers, to continue to provide them with great pie.
That's all for now. Thanks for watching the weekly recap. I'll see you next time. The weekly recap is brought to you by Rice Chopper, cooking from scratch, the UPS store of Rolla, Bayard Dodge in West Plains, and the Ozarks Medical Center.
If you were shopping for 2010 Cadillac Escalade Luxury, you would need about $20,000. So imagine finding one online for about 1/4 that price. Recently, a man did just that, and he wired his payment to the seller's escrow service in Kansas City, Missouri, only to never hear back from the seller. Now, the Better Business Bureau began getting inquiries last month from consumers wanting to know if Craigslist offers to buy vehicles and heavy equipment at unusually low prices were legitimate. Now, if these offers are involving auto shipping, silver shipping, or Springfield shippers, they are not legitimate. They are part of a scam. The BBB has attempted to contact this company but has not gotten a response. In addition, the BBB has found that these websites were created very recently, 4 of them incredibly recently. Now, the scam says the items were advertised on the Craigslist, across the country with consumers seeing them. Here's how the scam works. An interested buyer emails the seller posing as a woman and using a fake name, says the items are in Kansas City. They'll be using their own escrow and shipping service, which ships free of charge. The seller will send pictures in their emails, which the price is then agreed upon, and the seller says, hey, give us a 50% deposit or the full amount, and says they're not going to receive the car or they're not going to have it shipped to them until they receive this down payment. Now, the buyer is going to go ahead and do that, and that's where the seller is going to cut loose. And the the buyer's never going to hear from them again. Now, the seller is offering an explanation for this. They're saying, 1, they're selling the car because they've just gotten out of a nasty divorce. 2, their husband passed away and it brings back bad memories. Or 3, their husband died a month ago and had a heart attack, and now they're moving to a different part of Missouri and they've got to be able to pay for their daughter's college expenses. So if you hear from anything like this that sounds like that in these companies, be very, very cautious. Always go to bv.org and you can research any company there for free, and just make sure that you're not falling for a scam.